Hey guys, welcome back. It's Monique Rochelle. I am a six-figure entrepreneur, jewelry designer, all the things. So I have not been on YouTube in a while, and as you can see, we've moved, and so I'll kind of give you guys a tour of the office. Actually, I'll do that right now. So as you walk in, over here, I got rid of the cabinet, and so now we just have shelves, and the shelves are from IKEA. And we still have the jewelry containers. Everything is found in my Amazon storefront too, if you're looking for that. We have the jewelry containers full of our inventory. Look over here. We have my desk. This light is from TikTok Shop. We have my same photos, not too much has changed. And then we have this white cabinet. But yeah, no, we moved and I absolutely love this apartment. And I'll give you guys another sneak peek. Oh, hey James. And then this is our new living room. Yeah, love, love, love this new space. I'm back on YouTube. I feel so creative in this space. The last apartment that we were in, it was just so dark, gloomy, and it wasn't bright. And so we actually just moved back into the building that we moved away from. But I feel happy here. I'm able to create here. And so the space just feels bright, airy, and like my own. So because of that, I have a lot of creativity. I have a lot of knowledge to give. So much is going on in our industry. The tariffs have hit. The economy is a little bit different. I will say that I have learned so much, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about how to increase the revenue for your jewelry business. Now, I do still do one-on-one calls, and that's probably like my number one question is how am I continuing to get revenue? I will say my jewelry business has ebbs and flows. My bottom line is $15,000 of revenue per month. Now that's not profit because I do run Instagram ads and we have to pay for inventory and stuff. But I've never been under $15,000 a month since maybe 2021. 2021, we've been holding steady. Now I will say when I was working with like ad agencies, we were hitting 30,000 month after month. We don't have that going on anymore, but I'm still happy with what we've done. And there are times where our revenue tends to dip, and I have to look at what I'm doing and make sure I have everything in place to bounce back. So we're just gonna go over a few things that I implemented in the month of June. I believe in June I brought in maybe $20,000 or maybe a little bit more. But these are all the things that I make sure are in place to make sure I hit my goal for the month. Let's get started. Now, the first thing I'm gonna say, it might be a little bit obvious, but I just want you to make sure that you are keeping these like obvious tidbits in mind as we go through the conversation. One thing that I will say is a lot of people are trying to market and get these sales, but they don't have high quality photography. You need to invest in photography, whether that is buying yourself a good camera or setting aside to have professional photos done, or investing in UGC creators to create content for you. I highly suggest every so often making sure you have great photos. I used to have a lot of UGC creators that I would work with. Right now, I just batch create photos with a professional photographer, and then I also have a mirrorless camera with a great lens. Investing in lenses yourself will make all the difference in your business in the times where you need to like kind of DIY everything. But photography. The need for constant constant assets, that's super important to your business. So with that being said, my first step is if ever my revenue is low, I have to take a look inside of what I'm doing. Am I posting the stories? Am I posting reels? Am I posting pictures on my feed, right? So looking back at June, there were days where I was posting twice a day. There were days where I was on my stories all day. So Instagram has a lot of tips about how letting your stories for the day run its course for the 24 hours and then starting over again the next day. So I highly suggest like listening to those clips with Adam from Instagram, who gives the advice of how to utilize stories to your advantage. And yeah, so I will look, what's my activity been like? Have I been posting? Have I been utilizing my stories? If no, I get on it. I either take time to batch create content myself, or I will hire a photographer and they will batch create content for at least 2 months for me, and then that way I can continue to post. That's probably obvious, but that is where I would start. The reason I would start there as well is typically once I post a reel or once I post a photo, or if I'm in my stories showing off products, I normally get 1 or 2 sales. So I always start there because I know that the exposure will lead to a sale. And if it doesn't lead to a sale today, I always have my text message marketing in place and my email marketing in place to follow up with that customer. So sometimes like they'll look on my site that day, but then the texts and the emails will come through, and then they'll follow up with the purchase. It does say that it takes someone at least 7 times to look at your product before they end up buying. Sometimes if I have like really good deals, then they'll buy then, but like sometimes you have to be in their face at least 7 times before they pull the trigger and they buy from you. So my next tip actually to increase revenue is to make offers of bundle deals. I typically like to bundle my affirmation rings with like an eternity band. So a lot of my ads have the both of those. And the reason I do that is because it boosts up your AOV, your average order value. When you're grouping products together, set, or like you could do like earrings and like ear cuffs, or earrings and like studs to create like a bundle. Bundles will always increase that revenue. So like my affirmation ring is $48 and the eternity band is like $54. And normally it'd be a little bit over $100. I would put the two together and sell it for $80, right? And instead of just a $46 purchase or $54, they're buying 2 products, and then the value of the order would be $84, right? So that's one way to boost revenue. And another way to do it with utilizing your email marketing, one of my best performing email marketing pitches was you can buy an affirmation ring, and then all of our stackers were 50% off. And when all of our stackers were 50% off, people were buying an affirmation ring and then loading up on the stackers, right? It was just such a great deal. I need to get more stackers in stock so I can do that again. But that was probably one of my best performing email campaigns, is making sure that people were able to get our stackers half off along with an affirmation ring. I need to do that again. Speaking of emails, your email campaigns, if you are not, making consistent revenue, make sure you're sending emails or texts about launches, about restocks, about new arrivals, and about sales. So if you have any of those 4 going on, make sure you're sending an email or a text. Email I love is because you own that list. It's not like your social media family. Like, you own that list, and so they want to keep up with your business, so you need to send out emails. Sometimes I need help thinking of ideas of what to say in my email pitch. Put it in ChatGPT. So I'll create a GIF. I'll put the GIF in ChatGPT and I say, hey, chat, I want to market this sale that I'm having. This is the image that I'm using. Can you please create a title or a headline, captions, paragraphs of what my email should say? And then chat will just like give you what you need to say, like your blurbs. So utilize AI if you need to. I do have a video on my channel about how to make GIFs for your emails. And so definitely utilize that as well. But you should be sending emails about launches, restocks, new arrivals, and sales. Always. So the last tip that we'll talk about today is actually making the experience personalized for the customer. So what that might look like is if you have the ability to personalize your packaging. So say they want to include a message for a loved one. that they're shipping it to. If you have like gift packaging, you could always upcharge that. A really big thing right now is charms. Charms are huge. If you can personalize necklaces for people based on your girl, right? So say you have like a coastal brand and you have like shells or seashells and like, you know, ocean inspired pieces, and you can do charms, either charm necklaces or charm bracelets. That's doing really well right now. Adding gemstones to pieces, adding like letters, just little charms that you could add to pieces that could be a slight upcharge. And then we'll talk about my favorite thing actually. One thing that I invested in is the X tool. So I can engrave certain rings with dates, birthdays, names. The X tool has brought in a couple $1,000s a month just by doing simple engraving packages. Now it does not engrave on the level of my manufacturers, but it does engrave well enough to bring in additional income. So just little changes just go so far, right? So that's kind of what I do. I haven't really marketed the engraving packages in the past couple of months, but when I first launched it, I was getting tons and tons of projects. So those are like my little tips to make sure I'm hitting my revenue goals every month. Like I said, my baseline is 15,000, but I like to be in that 20,000 range each month. So if you guys have any questions about how you can increase revenue for your business specifically, definitely hit the link down below. I still do one-on-ones. I've opened up a mentorship. If you kind of want to see how I handle all of my finances, I do have a business template that you can input all of your money to see where everything's going, to see what you can get rid of, what you could increase. That's available as well. But yeah, I will have a few more videos coming out within the next couple of weeks. So, bye.